very good afternoon to Archika, you and Narendra, and anybody who would be listening to it. So, going to be comparing the authoritative and authoritarian parenting today. So, Archika, would you want to take over and start? And, because parenting is the foundation of the life of anybody. And if it goes majorly wrong, see, somewhere or the other, something or the other is going wrong, and the parents are mindfully trying to, do things right. But the problem happens when the parents are too programmed and they are not ready to change things. And that's where the major problem happens. What do you say, Archie?
Correct, Nashima. Parenting, as you're saying, it's a very first thing. When we become a parent, we are giving birth to a life. It's a very, it's like a raw product, and we can make whatever we want from it. We want to make that, it's like in a pottery. जैसे कच्चा मिट्टी होती है उसको किस तरह की शेप देनी है. You want to make it a vase, you want to make it a pot to keep a water cool, or you want to make it something else. So this is very important. The parenting is something is like how you are giving, the kind of environment you are giving to a child, the kind of commands you are giving to a child, what atmosphere you are giving them, they'll become same. If we adopt somebody there if some Indian child been adopted by the foreigners, so they speak so very fluently and everything, they'll observe the same environment and same culture they are brought up in. So, and they'll behave in the same manner, and they'll expect the same, everything same, whatever they are actually getting around. It doesn't matter that child was Indian, but he'll behave the same way. Same with us. The way we behave with our kids, the way we treat them, what we want, we should give them that way. So when we were talking about the authoritative and authoritarian, so when we compare, we have already discussed authoritarian. As we discussed it, they are having a low warmth and high on control. They have a tagline, ki jo keh diya to keh diya. Whatever is said is being said, and you have to do that. Whereas authoritative we talk about, so it's like a high on warmth and moderate on control. Warmth is on a high level and control is on a moderate level. So it's very carefully they set their limits and restrictions regarding certain kinds of behavior. It is, and if we look at the children, what would be a difference between these two kind of parenting? So when we talk about authoritarian, their children will be tend to be conflicted. They'll be irritable and moody. And when they'll reach the adolescence age, these children, they might have more negative outcomes. And especially in boys, particularly in boys, in social and cognitive skill we talk about. So because there are few things when we talk about, and as per the research also it has been proven that there are few things we get in boys on a higher side, something in girls, if it's social and cognitive. So in this authoritarian parenting style, on boys it impacts little more on a higher side. Whereas if we talk about authoritative, this is a kind of parenting we feel it's a best type of style of parenting because it has a balance. This has all the things we need to bring the child in a proper manner, proper way, because there's a balance we are creating. Warmth is there, control is there, but the control is in a moderate level. We know when to control, how to control, what to say, what not to say, how to say no, how to tell them that what is the difference between right and wrong, and how we are, they are not feeling it, but we are actually pushing them towards the right path. So this is an authoritative style of parenting, and these children are very friendly, and they show their development of general competencies of dealing with others, with their environment and all. Ashima, Rajat is there. Narendra, you want to add up to it? Narendra is saying how to say no. Can you just...
that's an art.
Yeah, that's an art.
No is an art. But for that, go on, Narendra. You're saying something.
Yeah, that is very important in life. Yeah, everyone. Yeah, anything.
I think we'll make 5 sessions of
Yeah,
learning
he
how
said,
to say no.
yeah, everyone some due to some work. Yeah, first of all, you say no. Otherwise, yeah, you have shy or nervous. Okay, I will do it. Yeah, something like that. So that's why I happened so many times in my life. So that's why how to say no.
You know why people don't learn to say no? We have Neeraj and Rajat. Also, let's hear from Narendra and go to Neeraj and Rajat. Then we'll go further. Go on. Narendra, do you want to add something more?
Yeah, it's completed, Ashmi, for now.
All right. Okay. Rajat, let's hear from you and then Neeraj.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Hey, Hashima, ma'am, Archika, ma'am, Narendra, Neeraj, and to all the listeners. I think, like Narendra said, saying no is also an art because kids would want the best of both worlds, right? They would ask the same thing from their mother, and if the mother says no, they can ask the same thing from their father. So sometimes if they both don't agree, then they can ask the same thing from their sibling, their sister or brother. So learning no and saying no is an art. And I just read in the description what is authoritative parenting and what is authoritarian parenting. And I think authoritative parenting is good for people who need a lot of warmth. I think, and every kid needs warmth, love, attention, but they also love the support of both their parents. And if the parent is constantly saying no, whatever I say will be the final decision, then it's more like dictatorship, right? It's more like a authoritarian parenting where the parent makes a decision for their child and you have to follow it, whether it's the right decision or not a wrong decision, but it's the best decision according to them for their child, and you have to follow them to the T. So maybe it works for some children, maybe it doesn't work, but I think the more love you give them, the more understanding you have with them, and the better friends you are with your child, like from a certain age, where they can come up to you and ask all the questions which they want, it will be better.
Neeraj, do you want to say something, dear? And we also have Mukesh. Go on, Neeraj. And Mukesh is a teacher, so it will be lovely to hear from you about what kind of a teacher he thinks he is. Neeraj, do you want to add something, dear? Are you new? Yes, Neeraj is relatively new, and he just left, I think. So, no, he's there, but we can't see him. Mukesh and Suraj also says soft-hearted people tend to think if they say no, the people... That's where I think the roots of this also, not being able to say no, somewhere is in the childhood, right? Mukesh, would you want to add on, dear?
जी नमस्कार आशीमा जी, कैसी हैं आप?
All right. So, well, let me do a clear and quick distinction. Mukesh, are you saying something?
मैं अभी जस्ट ज्वाइन किया हूँ.
अच्छा, ठीक है. आप थोड़ी देर में, okay, right. So let me quickly, Archika, Rajat, Narendra, Mukesh, and all the people who are down in the listening panel, and if you want to join, that will be great. And all the people who will be listening to this at a later stage, I would want to draw a clear-cut definition of authoritative parenting and authoritarian parenting. So when I talk about authoritative parenting, there are clear rules and expectations. There is warmth and responsiveness towards the child. There is open communication and encouragement for independence. There is consistent discipline with explanations. There is encouragement of autonomy and critical thinking. On the contrary, we'll be explaining all these concepts. Right now, I'm just drawing the, difference. So when I talk about the first point of authoritative parenting, which is clear rules and expectation, on the contrary, authoritarian parents would be strict rules and high expectations. So when I talk about an authoritative parent, they put the rule. They might involve their children in putting their rule. Okay, we want this rule. This is how it should be. How do you think? And the expectations are there. And mind you, in the authoritative parenting, the expectations are not just from the child's side. कि भैया हमको आपसे ये चाहिए. Parents say, आपको ये करना है, आपको ये करना है, आपको ये करना है. On the contrary, the parents would involve their children and saying, you, our children, tell us, what do you expect from us as parents? So that is authoritative parenting, clear rules and expectations. The parents set clear rules with the children, for the children, and even for themselves. And expectations are set on both the sides. बच्चों की भी तो अपनी demands होती हैं, expectations होती हैं, खाली parents की थोड़ी होंगी. That is what is the thought process of an authoritative parenting. On the contrary, authoritarian parenting, strict rules. हमने जो बोला यही होगा, nothing the way you want. And high expectations. So that's one. Second is warmth and responsiveness towards the child in authoritative parents. They are very warm. They respond if the child wants to ask something, if the child is feeling afraid, if the child has any doubts, is in confusion. They will have that warmth. They'll say, come to me, my child. Come, sit down. What is the problem? Why are you feeling like this? Let's talk it out. Let's understand how we can help you. Let's understand how we can change it for you. On the contrary, authoritarian parenting, most of the time, less warmth and responsiveness, and more emphasis on obedience. You know, it's like a military rule. The way we have said, abhi pyar vyar nahi, nothing pyar vyar. Jo bola hai wo jaake karo, pyar baad mein karenge. You know? So and probably they are the strict people who don't want, who feel बच्चों को ज़्यादा प्यार किया, ज़्यादा response किया, ज़्यादा उनकी बात सुनी तो बिगड़ जाएंगे. You know? And the third point in authoritative is open communication and encouragement of independence. On the contrary, authoritarian parenting is punitive discipline with little explanation. Punitive means punishment. Punishment मिलेगा अगर तुमने discipline follow नहीं किया, और आपके जो rules हैं उनकी explanation तो है ही नहीं. आपने कोई explanation नहीं दी है. Open communication है ही नहीं. It is a closed one-way communication. Now, in authoritative parenting, they say consistent discipline with explanations. कि भैया ये discipline होना चाहिए, ये इसलिए ऐसा होना चाहिए, ये इसलिए ऐसा होना चाहिए, तुम्हें क्यों लगता है ये ठीक नहीं है, चलो डिस्कस करते हैं. और जहां पर पेरेंट्स को थोड़ा स्ट्रिक्ट होना है वो हो जाता है कि भाई हमने तुम्हारी बात सुन ली मगर हमें लगता है हमारे एक्सपीरियंस से ये सही है. तो कंसिस्टेंट डिसिप्लिन, एक्सप्लेनेशन पूरी है कि हमने तुम्हें क्यों डांटा, हमने तुम्हें क्यों सॉरी नहीं बोला, हमने क्यों थैंक यू नहीं बोला. On the contrary, when you talk about the other side, there is a lot of punishment, right? And then in the fifth point, we talk about encouragement of autonomy and critical thinking. What does that mean? कि आपको इंडिपेंडेंस दिया जाता है, आपने ये करना है, आर यू श्योर ये सही है, आर यू श्योर आप कर सकते हो, चलो करके देखो. और अगर करने के बाद बच्चा उसको हार जाता है, फेल हो जाता है, तब भी वो बहुत ज्यादा क्रिटिकल नहीं होंगे. वो बच्चे को प्यार करेंगे, उसको समझाएंगे, देखो बेटा ऐसा नहीं ऐसे करेंगे तो शायद बेटर हो जाए. तो वहां पे एक नेगोशिएशन चल रहा है, एक क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग चल रही है, एक सेल्फ आइडेंटिटी फॉर्म हो रहा है, एक इंडिपेंडेंस मिल रही है. Whereas an authoritarian parent, the control over child's behavior and decision. भाई तुमको कुछ नहीं पता है, तुम बिल्कुल बेवकूफ हो, हम जो कह रहे हैं वही सही है, हमने दुनिया देख के रखी है, तुम क्या जानते हो, अभी तो पैदा हुए हो, जुम्मा पैदा हुए और तुमको लगता है तुम सब डिसिप्लिन बना लोगे, तुमको सब अक्कल है. Sorry, that is not possible. Now that is how the authoritarian and authoritative parenting go. They both are there. So now, okay, somebody speaking something. Mukesh, I think you want to speak something, but you're in the college, right?
अभी तो मैं बाहर में हूँ, कॉलेज में.
आपका आवाज गूंज रहा है.
मैं इधर आ रहा हूँ साइड में, स्टाफ रूम में बैठा हूँ.
आपका बिल्कुल, आप क्या बोल रहे हो कुछ समझ नहीं आ रहा है मुकेश. आपको थोड़ा सा शांत जगह पे जाना पड़ेगा. आपकी आवाज जो है मुकेश वो एको कर रही है, क्लियर नहीं आ रही है.
आप मुझे सुन पा रहे हैं सीमा जी?
आप बेटर है, एब्सोल्युटली अभी बेटर है, अभी बेटर है. आप ठीक है, आप ठीक है.
चलिए तो फिर मैं अनम्यूट करता हूँ अगर साउंड नहीं जा रही है.
आप बोलेंगे, अनम्यूट करके आप बात करेंगे. अरे आप अनम्यूट करके लिसनर बन गए. ऑल राइट, नो प्रॉब्लम्स मुकेश, हम आपको अच्छे से आप जब नेक्स्ट टाइम में अच्छे से सुन पा रहे थे. अगर आप ज्वाइन करना चाहें आप ज्वाइन करके बात कर सकते हैं. So, I have given you 5 points on authoritative and authoritarian. Now, any discussion, any points which anybody wants to raise, anything you want to, contradict, anything you want to add, please go on. Nobody? Kya baat hai? I speak to the perfection, huh? I speak so perfect that nobody wants to challenge me. Hey Deepak, how are you? और आप लोग सब कंटेम्पलेटिव मोड में चले गए. हाँ, मेरे मम्मी पापा they used to do this. अच्छा, अथॉरिटेरियन थे. No, my parents used to always make me talk. They always used to explain. They always used to tell. अच्छा, authoritative थे. Are you all thinking that? मेरी आवाज आ रही है क्या?
Yes, you are audible, Ashima.
So I'm just wondering if anybody wants to say something, add something. I think we also have Anurag, and we can have expert comments from Anurag on authoritative and authoritarian, because being a parent is a very tough job, and a lot of people, instead of being mindful and trying to improvise, they would just keep doing what others do, because that is the safest bet, isn't it? मुकेश जी, अब आप बोलना चाहेंगे?
Everybody is recollecting their incidents, or somewhere they are trying to connect the dots that whether their parents authoritative थे, authoritarian थे, और अगर कहीं समझ नहीं आ रहा है तो there might be कि अच्छा कहाँ बीच में कहाँ पे line draw करूँ, एक dot रह गया है. So what they were actually. So please come up and ask if you have any doubts, or if you want to know, as Narendra was saying, how to say no.
I think we'll have to do 5 sessions on this, because saying no is also an art. There we'll have to again connect with ourselves. We'll have to understand why we are not able to say no. What are the blocks? What are the hindrances? What is keeping us from saying no? Why do we feel the other side? These are all cognitive biases and cognitive distortions. You know those techniques, Archika. Our defense mechanisms or coping mechanisms which we talk of. Right? So somewhere the coping mechanism or defense mechanism, most of the time, when we are not able to say no, or we are not able to, react to certain situations the way which we would want to, and we get onto the defensive, we don't want to fight with the people, we activate our defense mechanisms, right? Chalo chodo. Hi bol dete, nahi to I'll have to give so much explanation. So we kind of run away from a situation because of many reasons. I think we'll have to get there. Narendra, just stay tuned. That is a beautiful thing, and somewhere the roots can be in parenting also. Archika, do you want to add something now here, or shall we understand the concept of why and how, which one is better? Because there are more parenting styles, but these two are the supreme anywhere in the world. Now in today's world and time, there are many more. There are 10 to 12 different types of parenting, but the root 4 parenting styles is something which people still concentrate on. Archika,
sure,
Rajat,
as you say, but Rajat, you want to say something, please?
So, ma'am, generally, like these two are the styles of parenting which you have talked about, but sometimes subconsciously parents tend to choose a favorite. So, and they don't tell about it, but you know it. You get to know it through your school days, you get to know it through your college days, and you get to know it because, okay, if he or she is the favorite, he will get more love, or she will get more love, more pamperedness, and like all the wishes of them will come true. And we, like, generally being the elder, we have to sacrifice a lot, because what happens with us is we don't ask for things. We know that he or she will definitely ask and get them. And we tend to focus on our life, but we don't ask for things. So sometimes that can also play a vital role in the development of a child, or the psychology of the child. Because if he or she knows that, okay, I'm not the favorite, but I have to make myself so good that hopefully they will acknowledge me as the favorite. But yes.
what is the child doing there, Rajat? Absolutely, you're so correct. Knowingly or unknowingly, the parents make their favorites, and that's for true. I've also seen that with my parents. So the child who is feeling left out because the parents are not giving all the attention and all the pampering and all the love is trying to look for what? Approval. So that child is, as you, Rajat, I think you fall under that category somehow. Do you?
Are you youngest one?
No, I'm the elder one now.
So do you think you have always been looking for approvals and you're trying to be the Raja Beta and trying to do the good things always?
College, I used to do that, but after college, when I started earning, then I thought, okay, what's the point in looking for approval? I can earn my own money and look for approval with my colleagues and look for approval from there. But yes, the validation which I needed till college, I didn't get. After college, when I started earning, I got a lot of respect from my parents. So that is the thing. I don't know, if you start earning, then only you can get respect. But yes.
No, it's not like that, Rajat. But there is definitely association between birth order and attachment style, the way parents make, no? जो birth orders होता है हमारा siblings का और children, the first borns जो होते हैं, for example, उनको बहुत ज़्यादा केयर गिवर का जो रोल होता है, the hero of the family. I've explained it earlier as well. The first born जो होते हैं उसको all pampering, I would say, but they become a hero. With the first born, parents are like, okay, they start giving everything whatever they have, full attention, because एक तो first born जो होते हैं उनमें बहुत सारी चीजें first time parents बनते हैं. We don't know. Being a mother, we are like, okay, what to do, how to do. ठीक हो रहा है कि नहीं हो रहा है, कैसे करना है. अच्छा थोड़ा सा कफ हो गया, कोल्ड हो गया, तो we are like कि ये कितना सीरियस है. बहुत माइनर भी होता है तो we get to worry. Because first hand with job experience, like your first job, you are very, very careful with your each and every task you are doing, what orders you are getting from boss, how you are behaving in office. So everything what we are doing first time is actually we are doing it lot of care. Isn't it? Rajat, what do you say? When you got your first job, what was your behavior? What was your attitude?
So my first job was with my father. So, yes, I was always careful, cautious, because I knew that if I made a mistake, he will correct me, but he will never scold me. That's the thing, right? My dad never scolds me till date. He will only say the good things and I'll hear about the bad things from my mother. But yes, this is the thing, right? Every parent plays a vital role in the upbringing of their child, and fortunately I got to work with my dad and I still do. But yes, I was very careful, like you rightly said, very careful about never making a mistake. If I did, I would ask for, okay, what can I do better? Because I know he will communicate with me honestly, and I didn't have to look for him. He was always there. He was always around. And he will always help me.
Yeah, so this is what always happened. And with the firstborn, the child is growing, we are also growing as a parents. Mother is getting understanding, okay, this happened at that stage, this happened at this, if the cough is this, so this is a medicine, if cold is this, so it's fine, not to worry much. So when there's a second or third child happen, nowadays they are going for one only, but then we get, less this thing, okay, fine, it's fine, ऐसा होता है. ऐसा पहले भी हुआ है and I have experiences, तो ऐसा होता है. ओके, तो फर्स्ट चाइल्ड को हम ऐसे स्पून फीडिंग करते हैं, ये रोए नहीं, ये गिर नहीं जाए, वी आर ऑलवेज अराउंड. एंड सेकंड चाइल्ड के साथ हम थोड़ा सा केयरलेस तो नहीं कहूंगी, बट हाँ थोड़े से हम कॉन्फिडेंट हो जाते हैं. ओके, एंड फ्रॉम द फर्स्ट चाइल्ड वी स्टार्ट एक्सपेक्टिंग he will or she will take care, or she'll be or he will be a help, and he's the elder one, you are the big one, you are more understanding, आप समझदार हो, आपको समझना चाहिए. And these kind of comparison when we do, so I know it comparison not good and we should not do it, but parents भी कई बार fail हो जाते हैं, वो mindset जो चलता चला जाता है, because we are getting, when there's only one child we are having less work, when there's another child is there, then first का भी काम करना है, second वाले को भी देखना है, then a house is also there, and if both parents are working, the situation is actually get tough. So every situation and every, but still it's not a justification for the parenting style. when we are talking about the parenting style, this is not a justification. It's just a birth order I was discussing. So let's get back to the authoritative and authoritarian parenting. So this comes when yesterday also I was telling that authoritarian jo parents hote hain, when they are so very hard on their kids, and if incident is something, the kid has steal something from somewhere, or parents get to know, पता चल जाता है अच्छा ठीक है कुछ तो चुराया है इसने. तो जो authoritarian होते हैं वो they'll just, whenever child at home, they'll either slap the child or they'll scold or they'll put them in a room. Okay, you are grounded, no food, nothing. But on the opposite, if you are authoritative parent, so first you'll ask, what was wrong? Why did you do that? Okay, now you have done a mistake, so you have to face the consequences. You have to take this punishment, okay? But they are very clear that why you are being punished, why we are giving you this punishment, why you are debarred from this, why you are getting grounded for it tonight or 2 days or 4 days, whatever they decide. So when we get the reason, जब एक बच्चे को एक रीजन मिल जाता है कि मेरे साथ ये पनिशमेंट मुझे मिली है या मुझे एक थप्पड़ पड़ा है, पर इसका रीजन ये है, तो वो अपने मेंटली वी कैन उसको हम रिलेट कर पाते हैं. ओके, दिस इज अ मिस्टेक, नॉट टू बी रिपीटेड, इस वजह से हुआ है. बट जब हमें वो रीजन नहीं मिलता है, नॉट जस्ट विद किड्स, विद अस आल्सो, राइट नाउ आल्सो, विद एवरीथिंग, व्हेन वी आर अनएबल टू गेट दैट रीजन और द व्हाट इज मतलब हुआ क्यों, व्हाई, आंसर ऑफ दिस व्हाई, why to me, why this has happened with me. So uska why ka jab answer nahi mil pata hai, then sometimes we retaliate, sometimes we start getting negative, we develop this negative thought pattern against parents. पापा तो ऐसे ही करते हैं, उनका तो काम ही यही है, मैं कुछ भी कर दूं वो मुझे थप्पड़ ही मारेंगे, मैं कुछ भी बोलूंगा वो मुझे डांटेंगे ही, वो मेरी बात नहीं सुनेंगे, उनको समझ ही नहीं आता है. So we start developing this. और first thought जो आता है negative, then second, third, fourth, वो pile up होता जाता है. And this is how we develop later on, which become, if it's not being solved initially, if we are not taking care of a child and we are continuing with the same kind of behavior, so later this has become a disorder. Like conduct disorder में या फिर ODD में वो convert होने के बहुत chances रहते हैं. Ashima?
It's like an unfinished business when you're talking of a parent who is punishing a child, and for that parent the rule is so strong that the parent is not even ready to understand what happened, why the child went wrong, why the child made a mistake, and they are not ready to understand this. That kind of, it becomes kind of a wound, right? It is kind of why my parent is doing that, why my father is not loving me, why my father is not making me sit down and talk to me. So, authoritarian parenting is more or less, it has a lot of flaws, because whatever is needed, discipline and all, is there in authoritative parenting also. But authoritative parenting, most of the time now, in the cities and all, yes, authoritarian parenting has really gone low. But when you talk about the smaller towns and the districts, you still have, the fathers. Why do the fathers behave in such a way? Because they think that is how their fathers have behaved. And they're not ready to get mindful that it is not helping. And they're not ready to understand that it did not help them. They did not have a great association with their father. So they need to change. So when I talk about authoritative parenting, it is definitely better. And why is it better? Before I say that, anybody who is down there, who's here up on the speaker panel, wants to talk about anything which kept bothering them in their childhood, or something which made them feel why my parents are doing this, or they felt, no, my parents were definitely doing the great things for me. There was a questioning and answering, and they were sitting down and talking to us. Anything anybody wants to add, we'll just pause for 10 seconds. And if you have something, you may come up, you may add here. If no, then we'll go on to why authoritative parenting is better. And, there are the other forms which we'll be discussing in the sessions, because this is a 10 sessions season on parenting. We are going to be talking about all the forms of parenting: permissive parenting, helicopter parenting, neglectful parenting, and, so many of them have come in. We have, okay. Amrish, do you want to say something, dear? Please.
Yeah, hey Ashma. I mean, just interesting discussion here. I just wanted to kind of, get your thoughts on like this whole idea of conscious parenting in itself is like a recent invention, especially in the Indian context, right?
Yeah.
And it could at times really get overwhelming for people, because it's not only do you have to kind of undo the damage that was done, in your past, let's say, you kind of have to ensure that you don't pass it along to the next generation. And so what are your thoughts?
I would say that somewhere we lost touch with our roots. Because if you talk about, when you talk about the Indian scriptures, when you talk about, the epics like Ramayana, or you talk about a lot of different parenting styles, or for that matter, when you are reminded of Dhritarashtra, he was so permissive, that he was so much in love with his son that he could let his son do anything, and the disaster fell upon them on the Kauravas. So we have seen a lot of parenting styles, and there are rules and regulations which was set. If you know that, if you go to the epics and if you talk about the stories of Panchtantra, so probably somewhere down the line we lost roots. That is what I would say. Definitely West has gotten into mindful parenting long back, because somewhere they were trying to understand parenting from a different aspect. And so they have also undergone a lot of transition. And when you talk about Narendra saying, ma'am, my phone charging is getting 3. I did not understand that.
Maybe it's running low or something. He might drop out.
Okay, all right. So, when you talk about mindful parenting, and mindfulness is a concept which West has incidentally taken from the East, which is from the Buddhic, the Buddhism or the Buddhist teachings, or when you talk about yoga culture or pranayama, where you try to understand yourself, where you try to make a, awareness of your being, where you learn to respect everybody, where you learn to involve everybody. So when you talk about being mindful, this is a concept which is deep rooted into the Indian ancient scriptures, but somewhere we lost touch, right? And that is why when you talk about, children coming to us and saying, my parents don't actually love me, ever since I've become bigger, they want me to respect them. I want to sit close to them. I want to talk to them, but they're drawing a boundary. They don't want to talk to me. They just tell me things to do. So I think somewhere we as parents have to learn a lot. And absolutely, West is doing but it's not, having said that, it's not that the West is absolutely going gaga and they're doing the best of the things. That's not true. But yes, when you talk about our own culture, there is a lot which needs to evolve. I hope I made sense to you, Amrish.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but from the discussion, what I could decipher is that the question is really of nuance, because they almost seem the same, styles of parenting, with one kind of, being excessive in terms of control and, enforcing rules and things of that nature. So I really want some clarity in that regard there. Yeah.
Oh, you mean authoritative and authoritarian?
Yeah.
All right. I did mention 5 points for each and compare. I would just bring them quickly here so that
Oh, sorry about that. I think I might have dropped out there.
Absolutely. Okay. So when you talk about authoritative parenting, it is basically set rules which are clear, and there are clear expectations. And here, when you're setting expectations and rules, you're not just trying to dictate and say, this is what you have to do, this is what we expect from you. On the contrary, an authoritative parent would make, it's like, it's a family discussion and making rules rules and regulation over a conference, if you want to, make it really sound interesting. It's like parents, they know that they can't be perfect. They can also end up making mistakes. So when they're making rules and regulations and the children have reached to the age, and even today the people have started doing young. I started doing this with my kids, so the very aspect of saying thank you, sorry to the kids is something which is still to a lot of time. So when you set rules, you make the children a part, and it is not that the parents are expecting. The children can also have expectations from their parents. Whereas in the authoritarian style, nothing like that is there. There are strict rules, high expectations. The parents are not involving the children. That involvement is missing.
Exactly. I thought, so it makes sense that, it's like more enabling a sense of agency in the kids while they're growing up, right?
Absolutely. So, you are a part of something. You have made it happen. You would have that responsibility element, isn't it?
Right. Absolutely.
So
that makes sense. And one last question. I'll shut up after this.
There are more points to it, but please go on.
Yeah, I was just curious, I've seen this happen in my circles where, the tables are turned and it's more like the parent seeks validation almost from the kid, for what they're doing and how they're acting, so what would that be categorized?
When you talk of validation and you're talking about these kids, what age group? And when you look at those parents per se, what do you think? Have they given in too much to their children? And they think that the children are the lords for them?
It does seem that way at times, yes.
So that is another style of parenting which we are yet to discuss. It's a permissive side of parenting.
Permissive, okay, that's the word for it. Okay, that makes sense, Achika. Thanks.
Parenting also.
Where what, you abandon the kids?
No.
You've had a taste of that, I guess.
Just a quick one on permissive, as Archika said. Permissive means you I gave you the example of Dhritarashtra. He made his son, he was so much in love of his son, which was Duryodhan, that he would literally close his eyes to any wrong thing because that's a different story, that he had his own expectations and all.
So can we say, Ashima, that the Dhritarashtra, you just mentioned the Kauravas and Duryodhan, the case, we can say it was a best combination of permissive and neglectful and uninvolved parenting.
No, you can't call it uninvolved and neglectful.
Because when things were going wrong, so there was no involvement in it to correct it.
No, the insight was missing, Archika. Involvement was there.
There's no insight, so you are actually neglectful when there's no insight and you are not aware what's going on with your kid and what should you do. But you are permissive as well.
You are so blinded by your own love for your child and your hunger for power that you will go to any extent of making it happen. So here it is not just the aspect of parenting. When you say neglectful, Archika, it is like the parent has completely, like Amrish just said, has just abandoned the child. I'll just stop here. Bappi is saying hello. Bappi, I invited you. If you want to come on, please come up on the panel and do tell us what are your feelings about the discussion which is happening. And anybody else who has something to add on, has something to say, has something to, ask, you're most welcome. Because we are having this platform on Mensa. Mensa is a beautiful platform wherein people, like we had an incident yesterday wherein a person was, a new joinee and he could just say anything. But over a period of time, Mensa has become a platform where people come, they network, they learn from each other, they teach. They have so much beautiful things to take back. It is not just like a social media platform, you come and say anything. Because here the rules are, if you are trying to be a miscreant, you will be not accepted in this community of people who are intellectual, who are wanting to learn. And ISCA, Indian Specialized Counseling Academy, Archika and Ashima are here on Mensa, trying to make an open space every day where Nobody is judging, nobody is criticizing. We are trying to talk and understand a lot of ideas to make ourselves, beautiful, make our thought processes change for better, and make life a beautiful journey henceforth. Because we all have something or the other which bothers us, or something or the other which confuses us. And right now we are in the season parenting. And when we talk about parenting, there are 10, episodes or 10 sessions which we are going to be doing. Today we are on the third session. We are talking about, we are drawing a comparison between authoritative and authoritarian. And just now, permissive has come in, and Archika brought in neglectful. I brought in helicopter parenting. So
I'll add up to your point, Ashima. When you were saying Dhritarashtra thing, actually here I would like to draw attention of everybody that everything was coming from his childhood and whatever had happened with him. The kind of upbringing he got, Dhritarashtra, because he was the elder one and he was somewhere ki mujhe milna chahiye tha, but he didn't get that time, and Pandu got it. Pandavas, the father of Pandavas. So he had that thing inside him. The discrimination जो उसके साथ हुआ, and what kind of feeling he had for his parents कि मेरे साथ ये गलत क्यों किया गया, जो मेरा right था, जो मुझे मिलना चाहिए था, वो मुझसे लेके किसी और को दे दिया गया when he was not deserving. Just because I was blind. Okay. I am blind.
Yeah. Archika, you brought in the word discrimination. Now here I am thinking of the words nature or nurture. I don't know if somebody really told him in the wrong ways कि भाई because you are blind we can't give you the kingdom, and that kind of wreaked and that kind of made him go bad, or it was his nature.
No, that was a word he might have got in his mind when there was no clarification, when there was no, confidence being built by the parents that why it is happening, why we are doing it, why it is important. When
we don't know. We don't know that aspect. Yeah, whether he was really told or not told, or he was just told, okay, please step back. Your brother is going to be the...
assuming.
Yeah, we have
assuming.
Yeah, in a manner of speculation, I guess it is a plausible thing, right? Where it so happens with elder, siblings, I guess, where they kind of burden the responsibilities of like whatever ambitions or unfinished ambitions, I guess, parents had in their life, and they kind of have to foresee them. Yeah, exactly. Right.
Absolutely. Okay, Arnav, you were talking about English language, dear. English language, understand this, Arnav. Anything is a learning process, and I think you're new to Mensa. So when you talk about English language, it is also a process. So you will have to probably understand where all you want to improve, how you want to go about, and you will have to understand and speculate what is your level. And you will have to make short-term and long-term goals. And the major things when you talk about English language, Arnav, are you will have to get into the flow. And the flow comes when you listen all the more. Because any language, the more you listen, the more you comprehend, the more you imitate, the more you try to speak and you try to understand, it will get into your psyche. If you just want to speak initially, it may or may not happen. But if you make it a habit to listen and then imitate and try to record yourself, your tonal quality, the words which you use, the sound which you make, the confidence, a lot of elements to it. And Rajat is saying, listen to English learning circles, which happen, and there are lots of teachers here, lots of circles, so you will be helped. So having said that, Arnav, would you want to say something? Did it make sense to you?
Ma'am, actually, I get, my English is not too good, but I am still trying my best. But the problem is that I get only 2 hours per day to learn this language, and I am also preparing for government competitive exams like SSC, CHSL, CGL. So, can you guide me in a right way that how to prepare as possible as? as
आपने
fast as
सुना मैंने इससे पहले क्या क्या बोला? क्या आपने वो सुना? आपको संबोधित करके while addressing you, I made certain statements. Did you pay attention to what I was saying?
या मैंने कुछ सुना है उस बात को, बट ये है कि यहाँ पे कुछ ऐसा वॉइस नेटवर्क डिस्टर्बेंस के चलते सुन नहीं पाया.
हाँ. So सबसे पहला इम्पोर्टेंट अर्नव, आप अपने दिमाग में जो भी थॉट्स चल रहे हैं उनको रेस्ट पे रखो. और जब आप बोलते हो माई इंग्लिश इज नॉट दैट गुड, I think if we'll have to use right words. The problem with English is that हमको लगता है यार English नहीं आ रही है तो कुछ ना कुछ तो हम में ही गड़बड़ है ना. So you will have to say, because, and you'll have to understand this, that you have not been speaking in English in your circles, around your circles for whatever reasons. So you will have to probably draw down the guidelines for yourself. You will have to understand what level you are. And the सबसे important चीज है ना अर्णव, that is to listen. और जब आप सुन रहे हो सोचो मत, उसको उसी टाइम कॉम्प्रिहेंड मत करो, उसको सुनो, उसको धीरे धीरे एब्जॉर्ब करो. जैसे वो राइम है, आई एम सॉरी आई एम डिविएटिंग फ्रॉम अथॉरिटेटिव एंड अथॉरिटेरियन पेरेंटिंग. अर्चिका, डू यू थिंक आई कैन गिव हिम सम?
Please, you are doing our job, helping others.
Okay, we are doing the job of helping others. All right. So when you talk about any language, the first thing is you have to be at rest yourself. Your mind has to be at rest. वो जो घबराहट होती है, वो embarrassment की feeling होती है, we'll have to let go of all of that. English is a language to us which is not our language, which has become a universal language, and we have to learn. Which is the root. आपको अगर मालूम है, when you go to countries abroad, nobody bothers how you're speaking, so long as you're making your point clear. So आपका ग्रामर वगैरह के ऊपर अभी ध्यान ना देके आप सिर्फ सुनो. अगर आप ग्रामर की बुक्स पढ़ रहे हो अच्छी बात है, ग्रामर के रूल्स पढ़ रहे हो अच्छी बात है, उनको समझो, अपनी वोकैबुलरी को इम्प्रूव करो, मगर आप अपने माइंड को अलाइन करो लोगों की बातों को सुनने में, और उसको कंटेम्पलेट पहले नहीं करो, और उसके साथ अपना एक टॉकिंग स्टाइल बनाओ. आई थिंक आपका एक अच्छा टॉकिंग स्टाइल है, कुछ चेंजेस कर सकते हो आप इफ यू वांट, which should not be a problem, but just take it easy. और ये याद रख लो अर्णव, it is a process, nothing happens overnight. कंसिस्टेंसी पर, जैसे आपने बोला मेरे पास सिर्फ 2 घंटे हैं, तो आपको वो 2 घंटे में आपको कितना सुनना है, कितना बोलना है, कितना रिकॉर्ड. आपने कभी अपनी आवाज रिकॉर्ड की है रजत?
नहीं मैम.
हाँ, सबसे पहले आज जाके अपनी आवाज रिकॉर्ड करके देखना, और इंग्लिश के जो सर्कल्स हैं अपने टीचर्स को बताना आपको क्या फीलिंग हुआ, एंड फ्रॉम देयर यू कैन टेक इट ऑन. Okay, and Arjun also wanted to say something. Arjun, what do you want to say? Please. And Parizad also wants to speak, and Suraj is saying, so I'm improving. Okay, yeah, go on. Parizad, are you joining, dear?
Okay, so I can swap down to make space for more people.
No, I've invited.
No, there is Parijat is. They've all come in. No problems. So we will.
Okay.
Parijat, would you unmute, dear? Are you new? 1 minute.
Yeah.
I think Parijat is also new, relatively. So guys, Mensa is a beautiful platform to learn, improve, become better, find beautiful intellectual friends, and gather a lot of knowledge. But patience is the key to anything you do in your life. And when you talk about parenting, patience is tested at every moment. Every moment. Parijat, you're saying yes, ma'am. So do you want to speak, dear, or how's it? Would you want to say hello? And even Arjun. Hello. How are you?
How are you?
I'm good. Okay. थोड़ा सा लंबा खींच सकते. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, ma'am? Hello, everyone.
Thank you. That's very nice. So, Parijat, what brings you here?
Sorry, ma'am.
How you joined Mensa? Were there any specific reasons?
Yes, ma'am. I want to learn English language.
Okay. if we can change the word learn and say, I want to improve on my speaking skills of English language.
Yes, ma'am. I want to improve my English language.
My speaking skills in English language, right? Or
Yes,
I
ma'am.
want to improve my English speaking skills.
Sorry, ma'am.
I want to improve my English speaking skills.
I want to improve my English
speaking skills.
skills.
Very good. So stay tuned, Parijat. There are lots of circles. Anybody who is here for English language, you have a lot of circles to join. Go on and, believe me, patience is the key and you can improve consistently. There is no looking back if you are serious about it. Mensa is a platform which will give you a lot of opportunities of improving every day. And down there, Suraj also wrote, I am improving, And I think a lot of people here, they would vouch for it, that consistency is the key. And being on Mensa will give you a lot of opportunities of improving. And you will have to make your goals, right? So we were talking about authoritative and authoritarian parenting. And we say any day, authoritative parenting is the best. And why it is the best? Because children are involved. Amrish and Archika, do you want to say something?
I had a question actually. So, to the point that Archika made, right? Many times what happens is if a given person has had a certain style of parenting that they've received, they tend to kind of operate from the same place, right, with their kids. And I was just wondering, how much freedom, I guess, a person has in involuntarily choosing from the variety of, let's say, parenting styles they have. And I guess, to be able to even have that freedom, what are the conditions? I'm assuming that they have to kind of go through extensive therapy to sort of, unlearn and kind of retrain themselves to adapt.
Yeah, so actually, Amrish, for doing this thing, first we have to have a realization. If parents are having realization that, I'm doing something wrong and actually it should not be done this way, my child is suffering or my child is not happy with me, so I should improve on something. So for this realization is very important. Until unless you're not having that realization, I'll not be able to help you because you are thinking in your mind that what I am doing is just perfect. जो मैं अपने बच्चे को सिखा रहा हूँ वो ही उसके लिए अच्छा है, जो मैं उसको कह रहा हूँ वो ही उसको करना चाहिए. तो जब ये वाला जो माइंडसेट आपका क्रिएट हो गया है, बिकॉज आई टेल यू एवरी डिसऑर्डर, एवरी प्रॉब्लम, एवरी इशू एंड एवरी स्टाइल कम विद अ टैगलाइन. Because with the authoritarian this thing we have a tagline, because I said so. And whereas when we talk about authoritative, the tagline is let's discuss this. So दोनों में difference है, दोनों में common भी है. In both the parenting style, what is common? High expectation. Okay, in both the parenting style, expectations are high. But the next thing, in authoritative, when we are having a tagline that let's discuss this, so we have clear standards. Whereas in authoritarian, we have clear rules, standards and rules. Clarity is there in both the sides. Okay, we are having clear standard. In authoritative, we are assertive, we are understanding, we are saying, we are discussing. But in authoritarian, we are forceful.
Got it.
All right.
Got it.
Having said that, let me add to what Archika said, Amrish, that parents are not going online shopping. Which one to choose, just put it in the cart and then we are sorted. It can never happen like that.
No, of course not. I wasn't implying that.
No, you said which one should they choose?
Yeah, because see, once a person has the realization, right, they could, with all the well-intentioned feelings, want to, let's say, be more compassionate, with their kids. But
Absolutely.
Given the history that they have, they might not be able to kind of, muster that degree of change, to kind of really provide that to the kids. So that's what I meant.
And what is happening today? because a lot of parents, they had that authoritarian style of parenting. The parents were too strict, or the fathers for that matter were very strict. So they become too giving. Like you said, the parents are taking validations from the children. So why that becomes too permissive?
Yeah, it's like overcorrecting in the wrong direction now also.
So balance goes missing, right?
So this realization, either they are realizing it or somebody else can make them realize. These are the two ways. Either they are learning, like if we are sitting in a get together, we are, my friends are there, I am there, my husband there, and my other friends are there, and we are discussing something about our kids, that how we behave, how we this, and I share something that, I do open communication with my kids, and I share my feelings, and I do this and I do that. So that could be, the knock on the brain of the other thing, that I'm not doing it. So क्या मैं गलत कर रहा हूँ कुछ? अच्छा, their children, they are behaving this way, they are understanding their thing, they are having communication. I'm not having it. So can I change it? Should I? But by that time, we should have that courage to talk. Okay, I'm doing this. Am I doing wrong, or should I change it, or something like that? Because there is a rigidity in authoritarian and there is a flexibility in authoritative. But it's not tough, I tell you. Recently, I don't know how much time we have, but recently I had a case where the child is getting into the 11th standard, and she wanted to choose some other subject. But a mother, because mother was taking care of everything, and she was a one who was deciding for her. So she was like, I want her to take PCM. But the child is not having that capability. She was not interested. बच्चे को इंटरेस्ट ही नहीं है PCM में कहीं भी. The child was telling me कि मेरे से तो ये होता ही नहीं है, मेरे को तो बहुत ही ज्यादा डर लगता है. I want to do some other thing, like fashion जो ऑप्शन है मेरे पास, वो करना चाहती हूँ मैं. क्या मेरे पास फिजिकल एजुकेशन का ऑप्शन है, वो मैं चूज करना चाहती हूँ. I want to go for this Hindi language rather than French. So it was a task for me, but to some extent, I got the success to make the parent understand. They see what is important. Happiness of the child.
In this case, was the parent really authoritarian or was fearful?
Both were there. There are a lot of factors when we are actually into a case, we can assess better, Ashima, and everything was coming from the background. Everything was coming from the upbringing of the parent, because the parent didn't get to do what she wanted to, she has observed from the environment. They're filthy rich, the family is filthy rich and can afford anything for their kids, anything.
So but fear factor, ego factor, a lot of things get compounded.
No, not a fear or ego factor. They can do for anything for their kids, and they can arrange lifelong arrangements, for their livelihood for their kids. But the thing was coming from the surroundings, environment. PCM ही लेना चाहिए, PCM से डॉक्टर बन जाते हैं, इंजीनियर बन जाते हैं. अरे आज
that's a fixed mindset, right?
Exactly, yeah, exactly. They're so fixated on that one outcome for their kid that they kind of do not see almost they're putting the kid in a box, right? They're not letting them kind of flower into their own person. They're just burdening them with expectations. Right?
So connecting, what I did initially, and I was just working on it. So what I did, I connect child and parent. That connection is very important. Happiness is very important. Communication is very important. If your child is there with you, she's talking to you, she's explaining you something, and she's there with you in every time. Just imagine when she's not around. You're pushing her to take PCM, she will take it. She might go till, clear the 12th standard, graduation. What if she get into some disorder, major disorder, some depression kind of thing? Then you'll be taking care of that child and you'll lose on her. So I was showing that picture and make her realize in the long term, the consequences can be. Are you ready to face it? Then the parent was like, no, it's okay. Happiness is important. Let her go.
True.
So the connection, making the connection and making them realization is a very big thing if we can do.
I also did this with a parent and the child, but I did not connect. I deconnected them because the connection was making the child to pile on the parents too much. So we'll talk about that case tomorrow probably. But for today, we were talking about authoritative and authoritarian. And any day authoritative is good because everybody wants to breathe, everybody wants to be talked to, and the best the kids. And your kids you want the best for them. And if you can't talk to them and if you can't reach out to them, it is going to have a big, big barrier, and no parent would want that. Thank you very much, everybody. See you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank